to the Frequency of Love podcast, where I was inspired to do a podcast as Dave and I wrote our love story. And when I wrote the book, I realized that it's not just us living in love. And in a world so full of so much doom and gloom these days, we thought, why not showcase love stories from around the world? And so I have the most fabulous guests with us today. This is Jane and Bill. Thank you so much for being with us. And I know them through my mom, who brought them to my attention, who are very dear friends of hers. And we're just so happy you're taking the time to chat with us today.
We're glad
to be
here.
Glad to be here.
Welcome. And so, first and foremost, how did you guys meet?
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, we actually met at church. We both came to Canada from the Netherlands. We immigrated. We were on the same ship.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll let Jane flesh that out. She does that well.
Yeah, it was in October 1951, and in those days you came on an immigrant ship, and unbeknownst to us, Bill was on that ship too. But you had to go where your sponsor lived. So Bill's sponsor, Bill and his family, they lived in Ontario. Our sponsor lived on Vancouver Island. So we went all the way to Port Alberni. That was quite the trip. And then 7 years later, because Port Alberni was based on lumber, so there were a lot of strikes. So every time we turned around, my dad was laid off. And so a friend, actually a pastor friend of my dad, said, the heart of Canada beats in Ontario. You could get a job there and there aren't so many strikes. So my parents decided to move to Ontario, and I was 13 at the time. And I said, I don't want to go. I said, I had to leave everybody I love in the Netherlands because my parents never got along. So I was very close to my Oma, my grandma. And so I said, I don't want to go. I have good friends now. It's like immigrating all over again. I don't know anybody there. She said, well, she said, when we were on the ship, there was a hurricane. And so they had a prayer meeting, and I remember the hurricane. Both Bill and I remember that. It was so bad they had to have ropes to keep us in bed, otherwise you'd fly out of your bunk bed. Yeah, and we weren't allowed to go outside. It was too dangerous. It came up 5 decks at least.
Yeah,
the waves. It was really something.
Unbelievable.
So I was so seasick. So I never met Bill because I couldn't go to the play area because I was sick. So my mom said we went to a prayer meeting, and I sat beside this couple. And they have kids your age. It was Bill's parents.
And a very handsome son.
Of course.
Yeah.
I that's incredible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dave's parents came over from England
In 67. So same.
Okay.
And my mom was quite sick too.
Oh, they came over on a ship.
Yep.
Wow, because it was not long after we came, people started coming by plane.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My oldest brother actually went before us, and he went by plane.
Yeah.
On his 21st birthday, he went to Canada by himself to set up, to go with a sponsor and get things set for us to come.
Oh, okay.
And when they sent us over, it was really a converted troop ship. So where they normally put freight, that's where they put the women and children, women and young children. It was a huge room, and to this day, if I close my eyes, I can smell it and I can see it. That's how traumatic it was. There were 100 babies just in that room.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
How long?
At sea.
And they put us 10 days, and they put us
10 days, 5 hours, and 15 minutes. But
but they put us where they normally put freight. So that's what the men were midship. And the reason I know that is my mom and I were so sick, and I was just a little kid, right? So you could get dehydrated. So they moved my mom, and one day they moved us to the men's section. They had curtains all around us. You know how kids are, they're so resilient. Like I was there about 5 minutes, and I thought, oh, I feel like I'm in my living room. So I played the whole day. It was lovely. But then it was time for bed again, and my mom and I had to go back. So it was really something. Yeah, I know. It sounds like something out of the Titanic.
No, I know. This is a whole other story. Like and then so did you arrived on the east and then was it a train that took you out to Port Alberni? Like you really went, and then you had to do the island? Like
yeah, exactly. You can understand that having lived in that area.
And the Dutch government, you had to pay as much as you could, and you were allowed to keep a little amount I don't remember what it was. Somebody told me it was $50, but I don't remember. And so all across Canada, wherever the train stopped, my dad would run off, get bread and butter and peanut butter, I guess, and run back on the train because there were no cars, eating cars. And if you go to Pier 21 in Halifax, they've got an immigrant train there. When I saw it, I stood there and I laughed so hard that I was crying in the end, because that was absolute luxury. Because the train we were on were wooden benches and it was a steam run, so coal fed. So every morning we had to scrape about that much soot away from the window and away from our beds. And we slept on the wooden benches, mom and dad and 6 kids. Yeah, but as kids, I thought I died and gone to heaven because I wasn't sick.
Yeah.
Really
well, yeah, whenever we start to feel better, all of a sudden it's like to feel better is always better than what you were. So
then we got to Vancouver and had no money left for food. And this nice young Canadian bought us all a sandwich. You know, you never forget that.
Never forget that.
And then we had to take the ferry, which was late. It was a Black Ball ferry, and it got to Nanaimo late. We missed our train, so we went by bus to Port Alberni, arrived on 3rd Avenue, and our house was on the 11th. Nobody came to get us, so all of us walked up at 11 o'clock at night, knocked on the door of our sponsor, and he goes, "Oh, I forgot you were coming."
Like, hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now we can laugh. I don't think it was very funny then.
No.
But there was no money at all for immigrants.
No.
You came with money in your pocket. That was it. There was no safety net. If you were unemployed, you were unemployed.
No food banks.
No food banks.
No
nothing.
Unemployment. No health care.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really. It was.
I know. I think I'm wrapping my head around.
And then so what he did, it was a tar paper shack on 11th Avenue in Port Alberni. It's still there, by the way. I found it back and took a photo. But it looks a little modern, but it's still pretty junky. Actually, it was condemned. Then, now, not in 51. And so he knocked on the door of they were all immigrants there, all Dutch immigrants. So the little they had, they shared. And I can remember, don't remember an awful lot more, but I remember that my parents put a mattress on the floor in the corner of the living room. And I got to lie down, and I remember thinking, it's not moving.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But then I met Bill at church. So
yeah, that was a neat experience for me too. I remember being at church and we heard this family was coming, and I had a very good friend the same age as I was, and we heard that there was a girl the same age we were. We were pretty excited because you were 13, so I would have been 14.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a pretty exciting day. When they all walked in, we got pretty excited.
So then you've gone back to Ontario, and now this is church in Ontario.
Yeah, in London.
And because also Dutch families, so there was a connection already.
Absolutely.
And then,
yeah, because it's basically a Dutch church.
And that's where we became friends. I became a good friend with Jane's brother, Ed, who's unfortunately no longer with us. He's passed, but Ed became a good friend of mine, and we used to go hunting and fishing together. And I always sort of kidded like I became good friends with him to get at her.
And
we were very.
Found out later.
And I was never going to get married.
Yeah, and she said, I just want to be friends. She says, yeah, me too. Yeah.
But you wore her down.
I wore her down.
He did.
Yeah, and I know Jane mentioned already that it was not good at home. When the first time I told her I loved her, she broke up with me.
It scared me.
Didn't know how to handle it.
There was no love in our family because my parents went through hell in the war. My dad was a federal police, and when the Nazis took over, he was supposed to listen to them, which he pretended to do, but at the same time, on the sly, he warned the people that he had to come for a raid. They were coming for a raid. He warned them when he had to go pick them up to go and work in the labor camps. And that was extremely dangerous. Like, had they ever caught my dad, they would have executed him and my mom both. And if I look back, my mom was 24 when the war broke out, and she was 29 when it was over. I mean, what is that? I don't know how they made it. So they both had PTSD.
Yeah.
My dad wouldn't go back to the Netherlands. I used to say, Dad, you should go back. You know, things are pretty good over there, and it's great to see family. So he finally went, and it was really hard for him because it brought everything back.
Yeah.
But he was glad he went.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But he was I remember meeting Casey for the first time, and he was very adamant. We're Canadians now. Forget about the old country. We're still very proud of our Dutch heritage. I mean, even back, my dad and I started a business together, and it was importing Dutch product, furniture, and the like. And I'd go back to Holland once or twice every year, and I enjoyed it very much. You could really feel there was a connection there.
We're both still fluent in Dutch.
We still speak
We
Dutch.
use it. A lot of people do.
Sometimes if you want to say something and we don't want somebody else to hear it, and we hope they're not Dutch, we'll switch over to Dutch.
That must have come in handy over the years, for sure.
Especially with the children. Because, you know, if I said to Bill, do you think we should go out for an ice cream tonight? Well, that'd be it. If the kids heard it, we were going. And they'd cry. So I'd say Dutch to him, and he'd say, yeah, that works out. Let's do it. And then we'd tell the kids.
And then we throw their name in every once in a while. Maybe hear their name. We had a lot of fun.
I love that.
We did.
Well, because I remember when we could like spell words and they didn't know what we were talking about, but now
exactly.
Shorter window.
Yeah.
That never worked for me. I've always been a lousy speller. I spelled wrong.
I could spell to him now and he wouldn't know what I was saying.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now Bill's said, I love you. You're having to digest that.
Yeah.
But when was there a moment when you knew she was the one, or was there a moment when you decided, Jane, that Bill was the one? Like,
I think I knew it
earlier
than Jane. I picked up on it very, very quickly. It just
I was too afraid, and so what I did is I knew that wasn't normal. So I was really blessed because I had a doctor who was trained in the Netherlands, so he understood our culture.
And that was my doctor too. We both had the same doctor.
Yes, we both had the same doctor.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, this is not normal, and he arranged counseling for me. Yeah.
A doctor did.
Yeah, my doctor.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm having troubles with love. I've been told I don't know if I can handle this. That's
I remember when I'd go and see him, and at the end he would sort of sit on the corner of his desk, the classic sitting on the corner of the desk, and says, okay, how's your spiritual life? And that was my MD.
Yeah, he was a Christian too.
He was a Christian too. So he treated the whole person. He treated the whole person, which was very important to us.
Yeah, and you know what? He was also very much into, he didn't mind natural stuff. I thought all doctors were like that until he retired.
Yeah.
You're right. If that was your introduction, that would have, you got spoiled.
Well, and he even told me, like, in '88, I was diagnosed with a hyperactive thyroid. Well, the recommended, treatment for that is you kill your thyroid and leave only a little piece that is working. And I'm like, what? And he said, yeah, with radioactive iodine. And I'm horrified. And I said to him, but my dad had this when he was the age that I was at then. And they didn't even hear of that. And he got better. I said, so what happens if your thyroid corrects itself and you only have a little piece left? He said, then you have to go on thyroxine for the rest of your life. And I was like, please, can I try it naturally? Yeah. And he whispered to me, he said, the more you do naturally, the better. And I only found out later that was illegal at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, eh? So I'm sitting here with a normal thyroid.
I love that.
So he was very good when I went to see him, and I told him I knew that things weren't normal. It's not normal to feel like that. He said to me, and he knew my parents really well, he said, Jane, you don't live in a home, you live in a hell. And so he arranged counseling for me. Like, you're an immigrant family, you have no money.
So. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And so he helped you see that you could be loved.
I saw a woman, which was probably a good thing, because my parents never got along, and my dad was a bully. Then later on, he softened, but he was full of anger, right? So that's how it came out. And I saw my brother make a neurotic choice, and I'm the baby, by the way, of 5. And I saw my brother make a neurotic choice. I loved his wife, but they just were not a match.
We're still good friends with her.
We're still good friends with her,
Yeah.
And then I saw my sister make a neurotic choice, and I thought, that's it. If that's what I'm going to do, I'm never getting married.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
So she really helped me.
Well,
so
we grew together.
Helped?
We were friends first, and I think that's very important. That's very important.
We're still good friends.
Yeah, we're still good friends. I think that's I think that's one of the keys. that you remain friends.
Yes.
That's one of the building blocks that you use to for the relationship.
So here, I'll ask what's one quality you loved at the start in the other that you still adore today?
I think that Jane speaks her mind. She's not afraid of speaking her mind, how she feels. There's no, I'm smiling at you, but meanwhile you're a bitch, type of thing. It's no, that's true. I mean, you're what she says what she did. We always kid that Jane does not have a poker face.
No, I don't.
She would be lousy at poker. She would give her hand away in a heartbeat. But that's the thing I really admired her. She was a straight shooter, and I've had my share. I was in sales for 47 years. Share of phonies, I mean, that weren't true. They say one thing to your face, and that's not what they meant. Yep. That was never the case with Jane. What you saw is what you got. You knew exactly where you were.
Yeah, there's a comfort with that, right?
But she has a look in her eyes that will go through. It'll melt steel. You would kill a tank in a heartbeat. I've only had it once. I never ever wanted to see it again. Because if I'd see it again, I'd have to go for therapy.
I used to teach school, you see. I taught elementary school, and you can't be yelling at the kids all the time. So if you're working with a child over here, the child over there is doing something, you give them the eyes, right? They sit down right away.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And what about you, Jane? Is there one thing that you noticed of him at the beginning that you still love today?
Yes, he has such a wonderful sense of humor. And I hadn't had a lot of humor in my life, and so he helped me find humor.
And about your first banana split.
He did. He bought me my very first banana split. This is before we were dating.
35 cents.
I'd never had one. And so he had one. And I said, what is that? He said, a banana split. I said, that looks good. So he bought me one. But he has a very good sense of humor. We do a lot of joking around. Like he's 1 year and 3 days older than I am. So for 3 days, I tease him that he's 2 years older. Relentlessly. So 1 year he took a business trip. It wasn't for that, but I tease him that that's why he did it, because he didn't want to hear me teasing him. And this year, I've really had a good time because he turned 80 last November. So the whole year I've been able to tease him that he's in the next decade. I'm not there yet. But in a month, I'll catch up.
Why are we still married?
Well, hey, that's my next question. What keeps you guys both in love after all these years?
I think being honest with one another and communicating. Our daughter once accused us of, it's not natural what you have never taught me how to fight because you never fought. We never did. We never fought. We would discuss behind closed doors, but we hardly ever raised our voice. The one time, I think it must have been me, I raised my voice, and we found, you tell them.
Both kids sitting on the stairs crying. They thought we were getting divorced.
Yeah.
Just from one argument.
Yeah. I don't even know if it was an argument. I think Bill just raised his voice about something. I don't know what it was anymore. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can relate to that. We don't raise our voices and we don't argue much. Like we'll always talk it out, but we don't really fight. And so the bickering that happens in this house is actually our sons. And we keep telling them, like, we can compete with that because it's so frustrating to listen. Yeah. And I think they're just so used to having two healthy parents that are always communicating healthily. So it's like they're making up for it or something. I don't know.
I don't know what they're doing.
And I think a big thing in that is respect.
Respect is another one for sure.
Like if I was nattering at him and calling him names, because I've heard couples do that, how can you respect them after that?
Yeah.
Right? You're breaking something.
Totally agree.
It's not repairable.
No, it's been a very good trip for us. It really has.
Yeah. Because even if you don't understand, like we've had this too, even if you don't understand why the other person is being how they are, or saying, like, doing or whatever, we've been respectful too. Like, it's like, but they're still their own person. So we're going to give that space for them to kind of figure that out themselves, because it's, it's not for me to judge or make them feel worse even.
That's right.
In the moment. So yeah, we've always said that too, like respect.
An important aspect, I think, for us too, is that we started at the same place, religious wise. I don't like to use the word religion, but we were on the same page with that. And I think if you're on different pages with that, if it's an important part of your life, if it's not a sort of a token thing, that's one thing. You're just a token, whatever. But we were serious about that, and that has really helped us because you're at the same page, and we are, and that's just by chance, I think, that we are on the same thing politically too. We're not too far apart politically. We think the same way. We've had some disagreements with certain aspects of it, but it's not a biggie.
And when our kids got married, we said to them, like for us, we clicked culturally too. And so we told them, look, I mean, we didn't mean to, but we raised our kids Dutch just because we did Dutch breakfast. And I didn't even know that. And a lot of traditions that you have. So I said to both our kids, be sensitive to your partner's culture. You might think it's ridiculous to spend a whole lot of money, say, for Christmas, because the Dutch don't do that. One gift or a bunch of little gifts,
And we still do that.
We still do that, yeah.
Some people go deep into that.
And we know people who do, they go overboard. We've never done that. So I said, be sensitive. They might want to go overboard and even into debt for it. You got to discuss it. You don't say, what kind of an idiot are you doing this? You know what I mean? So just to prepare them. Yeah.
I think that's very important. We also had that with our kids. I remember a situation with my son after graduating from grade 12. They were going to go somewhere, and it did. I thought, this is going to go sideways. They're going to go tenting at Pinery. It's going to be a mixed group, women or girls and guys, and it's not going to go right. I can tell you that's not going to go right. And he says, well, can I go? I said, well, I'm not going to tell you can't, but this is what's going to happen if you do go. That's my feeling. From my experience, this is
would have been underage drinking.
Yeah. He said, you're going to be guilty by association. And I said, but I'm not going to tell you. The decision to go or not to go is yours. I'm not. If you want to go, I'll love you just as much. And he decided not to. But I said, it's exactly what happened.
He went to his room, and about half an hour later, he came down. And he says, I have decided I'm not going.
But it was his decision.
It was, and he was letting us know
that was it. We never said, you're going to do that because I'm your father or I'm your mother. That you have to do that. We never did that. We always discussed it.
I think that's key in parenting. I think it's huge. And it's, instead of leverage, you're empowering them to become who they're supposed to be by making their own decisions.
And I remember my mother, I'd asked my mother, can I go here and here? She says, well, and she did the same thing. She says, if Jesus would come back, would you want to be found there? And that made me think, no, I wouldn't want to be found there. That was from our perspective. That worked very, very well. Because it's just, whether you believe in that or not, it's your moral compass. It's your moral compass.
Yeah.
We also know that, I don't know if your mom told you that we lost our son, Chris, to cancer. It'll be 2 years ago in November, this November.
Yeah.
And
I'm very sorry.
Thank you. It was very, very difficult, especially watching him suffer with the chemo. Anyway, we know that from statistically, a lot of couples break up, and we've seen it happen to a lot of couples.
Yeah.
So we said to each other, we don't want this to come between us. We want to be together in it. And so it's very important. And Bill has allowed me to grieve my way, and I've allowed him to grieve.
Because you do it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women tend to be more chatty, talk about it over and over and over until it's out. Whereas Bill, being what men usually do, they're quieter about it. And sometimes they keep it inside, and it affects them in different ways. So we talk about that together, and that really helps.
Yeah.
And all that's respect. Like you said earlier, it's just respecting other people's
That's the whole
ways
thing.
of doing things, right?
Yeah.
You're grieving the wrong way. You should grieve the way I grieve.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't cut it.
Talk to me. It's like, I don't want to talk.
Each other is, we are one as a husband and wife, but we are still two separate people.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important that you realize that.
Mm.
And like
As
you
a
said,
couple.
that is the respect.
It is.
Yeah. No, and that's incredible. It's kind of an element I didn't even think about, of like how we haven't had to yet, like basically how we would handle grief together, let alone a child. So I don't think you can.
We both lost both our parents. I mean, that's a, that's going to happen.
And because we're both,
You don't expect to bury your child.
Exactly.
No.
We're both
Yeah.
babies, so we've already lost siblings.
Yeah,
But that is, I mean, you mourn, but it's different.
it's totally different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope you
And-
never have to go through what we went through.
Imagine.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And you have other children, right?
One
A
daughter.
daughter. Yeah.
Daughter.
She lives in
Right.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
That's hard too when they're that far away.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you can just say, I'm having a bad day, let's go out for coffee. Or I'm having a good
Yeah.
day, let's go out for coffee. You could do that too, but it doesn't happen. Maybe they'll move this way because some of their kids have moved this way.
And what
Yeah.
we have done also, which it's just a simple little thing. We just came back from it this morning. We go out, we go to Timmy Horton, go through the drive-thru, we get a coffee, and we sit at our local park. I'm a Lions member, and we have 25 acres of trails and beautiful park, and we park there and we have our coffee almost every morning.
Bill started that actually after Chris had passed. It was probably like he passed in November. So those are dark days anyway, right? It gets dark so early and then it gets dark. It's dark in the morning long. And so he saw me getting depressed. I didn't even realize it myself. And I didn't even want to go out of the house. And so he said, you know what, let's go and get a Timmy Hortons. It probably was January because Christmas was busy. So probably in January. And I said, I don't even feel like getting dressed. He says, go in your PJs.
Sure.
So I threw my coat over my PJs and
and we do it so often that is like this morning, pull up to the window or to the sign. Can I help you? Yes. Well, I'll have my usual. They know what our usual is.
yeah.
There's a comfort in that.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah. It's the small things that really add up.
Small or big.
Yeah.
I mean, the big
Well, so
things, that's one thing. But the small things make a huge difference in a relationship. They really do.
I can feel that. Well, that was one of the questions. So your best tip for keeping love strong and connected over the years?
I'd say take care of the small stuff. Yeah.
I agree.
I love that.
The day to day, right? Just
Yeah.
And when the kids were young, we had a date night. My mother would come and babysit so that we could go out once a month. And then we continued that for a long, long time. And now we're just back with the two. So it's a date all the time.
What's important with us too, and that's just for us, that we worked together for about 40 years.
Yeah.
We were in the same business. Jane was a teacher and I was in sales. And at a certain point, she was quite busy with teaching.
Yeah, it was part-time teaching.
Part-time teaching.
Because Bill was gone a lot, like he'd be gone from Monday to Thursday or Monday to Friday, and I didn't want the kids to be alone. So I did part-time. So I'd see them off to school, go and teach, come back, have about a half an hour before they got home. And because otherwise it was mom and dad both gone, right? That can be really tough. And then that increased. And what I was doing was answering the phone here when I was home. And so I got to know the business. So that also piled up so that we needed either somebody else or me.
And we had regular customers that I built a relationship with. I dealt with some cases with the fathers that dealt with the sons and the daughters. So it was a long-term relationship with each of my customers. And Jane got into that by answering the phone. And then at a certain point, we decided that
Well, you told me it was entirely up to me.
it's up to Jane. I left it up again. I left it up to her.
And what I did do, Bill had a heart attack after he turned 40. And so I started going to the trade shows with him in the States. I didn't want him to go alone. It was too much. So I started doing that. And then I didn't know all the salespeople that well yet. I knew the nitty gritty of the business. And so I was watching the other couples because some of them brought their wives too. And I realized that they lived two totally separate lives.
Yeah.
Totally. And I thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to live, because then when you retire, who are you?
Yeah, you wake up at the breakfast table and say, who the heck are you?
And you
live
have
here?
nothing in common. So I said to him, I think I want to come and work with you because I don't want that to happen to us. And so he left it entirely up to me. He said, because I love working with kids. Well, that's why I started the daycare, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't have to do anything there now.
And that worked out exceptionally well for us because Jane was the administrator. She loved to be the administrator, very good at numbers. I was lousy at numbers, but I was good at selling. So I kept the sale. And when it came to market, Jane was just as good. I mean, I had a boss from England and we worked for him for over 30 years and we built up the territory in Canada. And he at one point says, you know, Mr. Burnick, he says, between you and Russia, you keep my factory afloat. Your orders are so good. So we built up a great relationship. And I know when Jane came, he sort of looked at it and says, okay, the little missus is going to be helping one of your big customers. I said, Mr. Funnel, relax. She knows the customers as well as I do. And she did very well. She wrote, in a lot of cases, bigger orders than I did. So it wasn't an issue. But a lot of and then we could see that this wasn't quite usual, the way it happened. Because a lot of cases, the wife would come over just for the market, but she'd have nothing to do with the business in between the two markets. In Jane's case, it wasn't the case.
And when I joined the company like that, they would fly us over to Italy. Like we've been to Italy many times. And they'd fly us over for business, and then you could tack on 3 or 4 days afterwards on your own.
Right.
So it was a lot of fun, a lot of traveling through Europe.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I think like what I'm hearing, even, I mean, I guess that happens when you've been decades together. Like you've grown together, but you've been through a lot. And I think to have all the experiences that you guys have, what I'm hearing is just like that you guys just really enjoy each other's company.
That's it. And a lot of those situations will either make or break you. You know, going into business together is going to make or break you. You're going to be at each other's throat, or you're going to love it. And we've loved it.
Well, and even when you retire, right?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're together all the time. But both of us, we give each other room. Like he used to go, he makes arrowheads. It's called napping, Knapping. And he found a fellow in well, you can see some of the those are the actual artifacts. This is one he made.
Yeah. Oh, this one isn't one.
This is a real one too?
This is about 4,000 years old.
Oh, okay, sorry. But you made some too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So he used to go with, and I'd say, go, you know, like I'm fine. I putter around on my own, or, you know, meet a friend for coffee. And yeah, so that was good.
Yeah, and I think also there are so many facets of this with the business. I mean, people look at me and say, well, you deal with so many women. Well, if you're in the design business, most of them are women. And some of the guys are gay, but some are straight. I mean, but it's a lot of women. And that's never been an issue with me. I see a person as a person, not as that's a woman, that's a man. I mean, you do see that. But a lot of my friends are women, and it's never been an issue.
And at first, they would be very careful because some of them had been hit on so often by sales reps. But then he became their hero. They loved him a lot.
Yeah,
so
because there was never any fear of me coming onto them or anything like that. I wasn't interested in that.
Well, that's you just respecting people. Didn't matter. As you said, it didn't matter. I was just a person, and I'm just respecting them. And you're in love with your wife, so there's nothing's clouded there.
Knew me very well. I know when Chris went through his divorce with his first marriage, he phoned me up in Montreal, and I had just set all my whole schedule up, which you do. You make all your appointments. And he phoned me up, and he said it's over between him and his wife. She was clowning around. Got into bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, smelled like Old Spice aftershave. She'd been clowning around. Yeah. And so I said, okay, I'll cancel all my appointments. I'm coming home. And so the next day, he phoned me up before I had a chance to phone everybody. He says, Dad, we're talking, so don't cancel your appointments. So I went downstairs at my main account, a huge account in Montreal. And the accountant who she paid the bills, and every once in a while I have to see her. And the buyer was busy with the customer, so I went downstairs to talk to the accountant. And she said, "How you doing?" I said, "Not bad." She got out from her desk and closed the door, and she says, "Now tell me how you really feel." She saw it.
Yeah, is that something?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she's been a good friend ever since.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about.
That's because you respected her and she respected you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And then our son met Christy, his second wife, and they were true soulmates.
Yeah, they were.
It was wonderful to see. Yeah.
Okay, so that's even my last question. What advice do you give people that are looking still for their soulmate?
That's really hard because we
Yeah.
didn't think in those terms.
No, soulmate was not something that we heard of when we were
Yeah.
dating. It's quite new for us, but we know that we're soulmates.
And we know that Christy and Chris were soulmates.
And I think the big thing is communications is huge. Don't hide stuff.
And respect.
Be straightforward with your partner, and your to-be partner, that you know where each other is coming from, that you understand, and that again respect one another with the decisions that he or she makes.
Be
supportive.
supportive.
And I think without that, you're going to have a problem. You really are. Because I've seen it so many times in business, because you meet with so many people. And that's the part that I enjoyed. I enjoyed meeting with people. I've always been a people person. I love dealing with people.
Even though he's a loner, isn't that funny?
Yeah, which is weird. That's what I always was that way. And that worked out well. I built up strong relationships with accounts from St. John's, Newfoundland, all the way to Victoria, right across Canada. I had accounts in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. So I got a little bit also, and that was important for me in your life. I had a chance to be by myself on the road. You need that private time for yourself. I really feel that. We also had a lot of time with just the two of us, and then we had time with the family. And with the family, it's very important. We took our kids on all the trips, and they understood. And that's where you come in with the schooling. And what we pulled the kids out of school early in June to go to Nova Scotia. You go ahead.
Yeah, and we had one teacher who used to get so angry with me. I quit teaching too. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't come anymore after the 15th, because the kids were always, or a lot, without their father, right? So we had this opportunity. So about the 15th of June, they don't do much after that anyway. And
I was about to say that, like, even now they don't do anything after like mid-June. You just
exactly.
So it was mid-June. We would go to Nova Scotia with the kids. So then both our kids ended up in his class. And when Kim, she was the elder one, so she went first, and he goes, "I'll never say that again." He said she knew all the rivers, she knew all the capitals, she knew all the names of the provinces, because they thought they were looking at a map. They were playing, because that was my thing. Play is a really good way to learn. And so they knew all these things. He said, "I'll never say that again." We backpacked through Europe with our two kids.
Yeah,
in 1991.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because we wanted.
How old were they at the time?
Kim was 22, I think, and Chris would have been 19. Yeah, and we did it because we wanted to show them where we were born. And then while you're there anyway, buy a Eurail pass, right? And if you buy 4 Eurail passes, then you end up in first class. So we had a blast. 10 days.
And we did it on a shoestring. I think we only spent about three grand for all 4 of us.
Yeah.
That's
it was a lot of fun.
Oh, I
slept on trains, slept in hotels.
We hit highlights, right? I mean, it's not an in-depth time in Spain or in Portugal or wherever.
Yeah.
We said we ate our way through Europe. We tried all the guys tried all the beers, in all the different places. So
yeah.
And
That's
it
a
makes
great
But did your kids have a blast? Like, is that one of their core memories, that they had so much fun?
Sure.
Probably?
Yeah. Well, so we had so much fun that 2 years later, we shared that with our friends, Sharon and Ron, our best friends, and they said, "We want to do it." I said, "Well, you can. At most places, they speak English, well, not everywhere, but a lot of places." And then they said, "Well, we don't dare to do it unless you come with us." So we did, both our kids did 6 months of missionary work with Youth with a Mission. It's called YWAM, Youth with a Mission. And we paid for that. And after they were done, I used to joke, "Well, when we make the last payment, I guess we'll be going." Well, we went for a month to Amsterdam, and we worked with Youth with a Mission. I worked with street people, and Bill did what they call mission building. He put ceilings in and he repaired walls and all stuff like that. And so at the end of that, our son with his first wife joined us, and our best friends joined us. And the 6 of us backpacked through Europe again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, we talked about
Great
that
trips.
a lot. Yeah.
A lot of memories. I look at that, and that's what you call back on as you get older. I've been retired, what, about 12 years?
You've been retired.
You're not
for
retired.
11.
Jane hasn't retired yet,
No.
but I have.
Do women ever retire? I don't know. So, yeah, good memories.
It's been great. It really has. It's been a great trip. No regrets.
Sounds like a really full life.
And it has been.
I like that. No regrets.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
We should have
it's-
retired maybe a little bit earlier.
We should, if we had to do it again, we would retire a little earlier because I was very fortunate. I worked my way up the food chain, and at the end, I had the best companies basically in the world, furniture-wise. I mean, I had a company called Maitland Smith that any rep would have given his eye teeth to have. I mean, for about 3 years, I made obscene amounts of money. I remember one guy came in from Montreal, and in an hour and a half, I made $25,000 commission, and it just kept going and going. And finally, it did. The company went a little sideways, and long story short, it was basically the CEO that was screwing up the company, and I left and went to another company. And he didn't follow me, but he followed the same path I did. He wanted to go to the better company. And I finally I handed my resignation after a number of years because he was doing the same thing for this company. I said, I don't want to be part. He wants me to lie to my customers. I will never do that. I'm always straightforward with my customers. I'm going to tell them the truth.
But on the other hand, in those 2 years, we got to have a couple more trips to Italy.
Oh, yeah. The Italian, that was the hardest thing to give up, was the Italian company, because he treated us like family. We were family to him. And he was old enough to be our son.
They do that in Europe. In Europe, the family is first.
Yeah.
Like we came, our granddaughter was going to be born any minute. And we were down there, and Philip says, how are you doing? I said, good. I said, but I'm kind of excited because we're having another granddaughter. He said, you're going home when she is going to give birth. And whereas American corporate mentality is unless you're dying, you're staying.
And even then it's so.
Yeah.
What a difference. And we found companies in Europe are like that. Family is first.
Yeah. Our British company was the same way.
Yeah. And our Italian company and the Dutch company.
And the Dutch company.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
And Canada was kind of in between, but now Canada is becoming more like corporate mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all knew. We were going up to Whitehorse. Our daughter and her husband lived up in Whitehorse, and our first grandchild was born up there. And we were going up the Dempster Highway. We rented 2 Ford Explorers, and we went up the Dempster Highway to Inuvik, and then we flew up to Tuktoyaktuk. So I was telling my sales manager from the US, I really liked him. He was a nice guy, down to earth. And he said, what? How long are you going to be gone? I said, well, about 2 weeks. And he said, well, you can't do that. I said, it's my holidays. I can do that. He said, no. Who's going to take care of business? I said, I have a lady who works in the office 10 hours a week. She's taking all the messages. She's explaining where we are. And I will call her a couple of times while we're gone, and I'll help her with anything. Well, he says, I don't know. I don't think you should be allowed to do that. He said, but you better take your cell phone. I said, okay, I will. There was no service up there.
You had it. You had it. I said I'd take it. Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's a different mentality. I mean, when Rowan was really young, he got sick and was in the hospital, and we were surprised even that his boss was like, Dave, it's okay, just go. And we were like, oh, like we didn't even expect that. So we'd even already at our age been programmed to think that would never even be. But I do think it depends on who your supervisor is to have that.
Yeah, I had a really nice boss.
That viewpoint on what's important.
And that's the way it should be. Dave, go, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just it. I kept on saying, I go, sorry, I got to go again. He goes, just go. You don't have to ask, just go.
Yeah.
I go.
Yeah, one time the boys, your mom brought the boys to our garage when we lived at the Hartford there, and Bill showed them how to make a kite. Remember that?
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, they had a really good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
They look a lot different now.
They're taller than me.
Taller than us.
Sorry?
They're taller than us now. They
Really?
look so different. Yes, they're taller than us, and they got deep voices and hair, and like
They're like 15 and 6'2".
yeah, they're 13 and 15
wow.
right now. Yeah,
Wow.
they've grown like weeds since we've been here, just like, and now they're up here. Like, well, they both surpassed me in the last year.
Yeah.
Our
Well,
eldest, I'm like,
I'm 5'8.5", and both of them.
Me too.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 5'8.5 as well.
5'9".
Yeah, Chris was 6'3".
Yeah, he was 6'3".
yeah, I'm looking at my eldest. I'm like, I'm looking up to you now. I don't like it.
And I remember when Chris was just little, and Kim had already grown, and he was feeling really sad one day. And I said to him, don't worry about it, honey. I said, one day you'll look down on all of us. And he said, really? I said, yeah. And that way he went. He was happy again.
You know, I know that's our 13-year-old. He keeps saying that. And we're like, we got lots of time. There's lots of time. You don't want, because we're worried he might go too tall. And we're like, then you got to find shoes.
Yeah,
and
I want to be 6'8". Like, no, you don't. You got to go to special stores. You got to get, you know.
Yeah. But then he could make baskets without even jumping, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's too tall. 6'8".
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure talking with you two and hearing your story, and extremely inspiring. And
thank you.
I think sometimes humbling too, just with your beginning and how everything unfolded. It's a good reminder, I think, for us all to be grateful and appreciate what we do have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Different era too. Like
a lot of cases, it's small stuff. For our church, we have a sort of unique church, and we took turns having the sermon. And one of my sermons I had was "Small is big," and it is big. Small can be very big.
And actually, it's a tiny church. Your mom attended there too. It's not big. Like if everybody's there, there's about 30. Yeah. If everybody makes it. And the first Sunday after Chris passed, they were leading worship up front, and all of a sudden the worship leader looked down. And he said, Jane and Bill are having a tough time. Let's go and give them a hug and pray for them. And that meant so much to us.
Stopped the service and came down. They
stopped the service. Everybody surrounded us, gave us hugs, told them they loved us.
Yeah. And
it was like medicine, better than medicine. So
love.
Community is important.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's also very rare these days. So if you have
it is.
It is very important.
Because you can be alone in a crowd, as you know. I mean, that's a saying and it's true. You can be alone in a crowd.
Yeah.
And that's
we're blessed.
Good. Yeah, we are blessed. Yeah.
Yeah. We feel very blessed.
That's very apparent. Very apparent.
Good.
And very inspiring, and the fact that it hasn't always been easy, but I can tell your attitude, the way you guys, the view and the lens that you decide to take it all on. And I think doing it as a team, as you have, and in a partnership and with love. And
it's good to see the two of you doing this as a team.
Yeah.
That's very good.
That's great.
And you're right. We need more positive stuff.
Oh, for sure. There's so much of the negative stuff. And every time you turn around, it's negative.
That's all you hear now.
Yeah.
Oh, you look at it. I remember just one little thing. I mean, somebody wrote up, said they went to the Mandarin, which is a big, you probably have been to a Mandarin. It's a huge buffet. And the guy says, not enough choice. Said, were we eating at the same restaurant? What kind of an idiot are you? What do you mean not enough choice?
When would it be enough?
Yeah.
And when would it even be enough if it's not?
That's someone who just can't be pleased.
Talk about negative.
I see a dog. Is that your dog or is that a stray dog?
Yeah, we got two.
We got two.
Yeah, that one's Louie.
No, I see a second one. The second one came in.
That one's Louie, and then Sunny. Yeah, they're best friends. They've been really great on the travels. They've been continuity between the countries and family. And so we're not just 4, we're 6. And
oh, right. Good.
Yeah.
It's a hassle crossing borders with them, but
so you take them out on your travels. You take them with you.
Yep.
Now,
they came to Mexico. They came here. They came from Canada.
Yeah, it's just a lot of paperwork, and you have to get it all right. But
so do you fly to Mexico?
Yep. Yeah, we did. Yep.
1 second. I'm just gonna end the recording.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. I'm just gonna.
Thank you.